You may be surprised to know that how you install your heating, ventilating, and cooling system can also contribute to moisture problems in a home. The average home has about 300 to 400 CFM of duct leaks. That's due to the fact that ducts inherently are leaky, and as that air exfiltrates out, for example here we're in a basement, if we have the ductwork located in a basement, that tends to create a positive pressure in the basement because of the duct leaks. But upstairs, that area tends to be under a negative pressure. Now, how does that relate to a moisture problem? Well, if the upstairs is under a negative pressure, that means that this pressure imbalance is pulling hot, humid air, say for example in the summer when it's 90 degrees outside and 95% relative humidity, that pulls that hot, humid air into the wall system where it can condense on the backside of polyethylene vapor barriers, run down the wall, and then be absorbed into wood-based building components and create mold-related problems. So it's really important that we seal our ductwork up. A couple different ways that we can do that. We can use mastic sealants, or we can use UL-approved tapes. Now, how much do we seal them? Well, there's a test called a duct blast test that actually measures the amount of duct leakage. And in general, we never want to see our duct leakage much above 10% of fan flow. So let's say we have a 1200 CFM system. That means we'd never want to see our duct leaks be more than 120 cubic feet of air per minute. Another important part of HVAC systems is their design. Oftentimes we tend to oversize HVAC systems, particularly air conditioning systems. And when we oversize them, they never really run long enough to dehumidify the air. They cool the air down quickly, but don't run long enough to take the moisture out of the air so the house can feel kind of cold but clammy. So it's important that we size the system appropriately. Now oftentimes people make the mistake of using rule of thumb estimates to size heating and cooling equipment. We always want to use ACA Manual J, a current version, to make sure that we're actually designing the systems according to the loads of the home. For example, you might have two homes that are the same floor plan, the same elevation, but if one home faces south and another home faces west, say a lot of glass that faces west, the homes will have totally different cooling loads. So it's important to design these systems according to ACA Manual J. ACA stands for the Air Conditioning Contractors Association of America. Also, ductwork itself tends to be undersized. We tend to oversize air conditioning systems and undersize ductwork. And what basically happens is that we don't get enough space in the ductwork to adequately get airflow through the system. So what we want to be able to do is design our ductwork according to ACA Manual D. That way we're sure not to have excessive friction loss that impedes the flow of air through the ducts, because to condition air we have to be able to move it through ducts and get it to the conditioned spaces that we want to heat or cool. Also, it's important to understand that we need to size this equipment and select the equipment according to ACA Manual S. That helps us select the right equipment for the right job. Now, ductwork oftentimes is installed improperly. We have long runs that do not have long sweeping bends. We tend to crush the ductwork. We tend to fold it around corners if it's flex duct. We don't want to compress that duct so there's no way that air can flow through it. But it's really critical that HVAC systems be properly designed and installed so that the air flows through them properly and that we don't create these pressure imbalances that can cause negative or positive pressures across the building envelope, so that our system actually helps our home be more energy efficient and more comfortable to live in. Another important consideration to heating and cooling system design is safety. If we create systems that have these pressure imbalances, that can also cause appliances and fireplaces to backdraft. That means pulling toxic fumes back into the home because of these pressure imbalances. So having sealed ductwork and ductwork that's properly designed can go a long way to helping prevent these problems. Also, we never want to put return air ducts in the same cavity as combustion flues such as water heaters, fireplaces, or furnaces, because that can also cause these fumes to be drawn back into the home. Another important consideration is plumbing, because a lot of mold-related problems oftentimes come from plumbing leaks. So let's go take a quick look at some quick tips on how we can reduce plumbing leaks. A major cause of mold in homes is moisture generated by us, the occupants. As homeowners, we do lots of things every day that generates lots of moisture. The majority of moisture in homes is caused from moisture generated in kitchens and baths. In fact, in bathrooms, for example, we take lots of showers. That generates a lot of moisture that we need to get rid of. One of the reasons why we have mold, for example, growing in our showers, that's because the showers get wet and the surface relative humidity is above 70%. Perfect conditions for mold to grow. But how do we control that? Well, we always control moisture at the source by getting rid of the moisture. The codes say, for example, that if you have a window in a bathroom, you don't need an exhaust fan. but that's not really true. Windows just don't get used often, and so therefore we get a lot of extra moisture. So the best way to ventilate a bathroom is with an exhaust fan, and that exhaust fan should be vented up through the roof, not into the attic or out of the soffit. Now, another tip is to use a spring-wound or electronic timer switch that's separately switched from the light. That way, when people take a shower, they can still continue to run the fan for 15 or 20 minutes after they take a shower, and that'll get rid of that moisture. And that'll solve a lot of moisture buildup problems in bathrooms. Another area of concern is kitchens. The best way to ventilate a kitchen is to use a vented range hood as opposed to recirculating. So while recirculating range hoods do a fairly good job of removing grease and so forth, the recommended approach would be to use a vented range hood to the outside. Another area of concern is dryer vents. We want to make sure that all dryers are vented to the outdoors. Humidifiers. Oftentimes we have furnaces that have humidifiers, and those can put out as much as 2 pints of moisture an hour. So people need to be educated about the importance of keeping the moisture levels in their home down. We never want to see the relative humidities inside homes really get above 55% because that can create lots of problems. Another area of concern is fireplaces. Oftentimes we put in these vent-free fireplaces, and that basically means that all the exhaust vents into the room, and that's a lot of moisture. Matter of fact, that can be as much as a pint of moisture to a quart of moisture every hour. So it's important to teach our customers how to operate those properly. Another tip on fireplaces, probably one of the best fireplaces to buy for bedrooms, if you're going to put a fireplace in a bedroom, is a direct vent fireplace. It gets its combustion air from the outside and also exhaust to the outside in the same basic flue. It also has glass doors on it, so the issues of backdrafting are lessened. Another common cause of mold in homes is simple plumbing leaks. When we have plumbing leaks, that water builds up building materials and oftentimes can't dry fast enough. So it's very important that when we're building homes, we pay close attention to how we install copper and PVC or plastic piping to make sure that we cover any areas where a nail might go through with hardened plates so that nails can't accidentally puncture plumbing lines. We want to make sure that trim nails and things like that do not puncture plumbing, that the plumbing is put in such a way that we don't have leaks. Whirlpool tubs, for example, that we have access places where we can actually inspect to see if we have water leaks and those types of things. So it's important that we build a leak-free plumbing system, and that'll go a long way to helping prevent mold problems due to plumbing leaks.